Timo from Finland on the Arctic Circle. I have experienced hundreds of times sleep paralysis, flying dreams, and also I have been many times conscious of out-of-body experience. So I would like to know, what does that mean? And have you got reading how many times I have been experienced those? And I have 2 days from this live stream, I have my birthday, so if you and your civilization can send me happy birthday, I would love that. Thank you.
Happy birthday. We'll do that first. The idea of what you call sleep paralysis can happen for a number of different reasons, based on not only what you mentioned in terms of out-of-body projection, because if you're shifting yourself to another dimensional realm, your body can no longer move in the same way that you're used to moving it, and so that can be experienced as a kind of freezing or immobilization of the physical form, while the idea of the energy component, the consciousness component, goes on or expands beyond the idea of its physical experience. However, it also can be something that happens when you are shifted by encounters with different extraterrestrial beings into a slightly altered reality in order to experience certain encounters, because again, it's similar to the idea of shifting your vibration from what you typically refer to as physical reality to perhaps another variation of it. And so, therefore, in being shifted, you are also being immobilized to make sure that you're shifted to the reality that is preferred, so you don't go shooting off into the cosmos. And also because, again, the immobilization may be necessary or simply a side effect or a result of the fact that you think you're trying to move in the same reality, but because you're not in the same reality, you have to learn to move differently and therefore feel that effect of not being able to move in your typical reality as a paralysis. The flying can be representative of the fact that you know you are now moving through an astral realm or out of body, as you say. It can also be representative of some encounters with the idea of being on a spaceship. But again, it will depend on that particular moment. You'd have to take it on a moment-by-moment basis. In terms of the number of encounters that you've had, it appears that you've had at least 13 in your life that are responsible for that experience for that reason. In terms of the idea of out-of-body projections, it seems that you may have had well over 50. At least as far as we can read your energy. You may not remember them all because it may not be necessary to remember them all, but nevertheless, this is what we're picking up from your frequency at this particular moment. So again, happy birthday.
Hello Bashar, this is Christian from Germany. I have a question concerning polarity. In our 3D physical world, we have like polarity, we have darkness and we have the light. And for me, the ascension process is kind of escaping this duality, where eventually we will reach a point where we feel our connection to the all that is, and where we are safe, and where we are connected and can join in a realm where there's a lot of love and peace. Yet I know that you said that on every realm of existence there's polarity, so I am wondering how this fits together. So how is polarity expressed in the higher realms? So it's, if not by or through fear or through darkness, or so if we are increasing our vibration, our frequency, then on a high plane, how is polarity reflected then? So thank you.
First of all, it's not about escaping polarity. It's about utilizing it in a more positive way. As we just explained to another individual, the idea of limitation can be an expression of polarity, but it's not always necessarily negative. So we can impose limitations upon ourselves in a positive way in order for us to make discoveries, surprises, experience the unexpected. That, in a sense, is a utilization of polarity in a positive way. But you don't escape it. You simply make choices that don't allow you to express polarity in a negative way. So yes, it exists on every level, but can be used in very positive ways, as I just described.
Good day, Bashar.
Good day.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Our passion and our pleasure to do so. What would you like to talk about?
I would like to clear up a possible misinterpretation I have of something you said in a recent transmission.
All right, let's do that.
All right. I perceived you as saying that you would be perhaps the only or one of the only Sasani first contact specialists that would be vocally channeled in the future.
No, I'm simply saying that I only come through this channel. There are other Sasani beings that can be connected with for a variety of reasons, whether it's about connecting to a first contact specialist or not. But I'm simply saying I am a first contact specialist, and this is the only channel I will come through.
Okay. So there
Does
could
that
be
clear it up?
Pretty much. I thought you said something about in order to focus ourselves in a certain direction for contact, you would be the only first contact specialist being channeled. But
through this channel.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that clears it up now.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
I had an experience recently where I was letting go of a lot of resistance, and
Yes.
I experienced that the reality that I was in, it seemed to be contained within another reality as I let go of more and more resistance. My consciousness expanded, so my
Yes.
previous reality was within a new reality that had a lot more options.
Yes. But you are a new person in that reality. It wasn't even your reality that you've left. That's another version's reality.
So that was within the new person that I became.
You are a new person in a new reality. Yes. Billions of times per second.
Okay. And the previous person I was that contained within the new person?
You weren't that person. It's contained within the oversoul, but you as a person were not that person. That person is a different person.
Okay.
Person is a malleable, temporary projection of consciousness for a particular reality experience. If you change your vibration, you become a new person in a new reality. A different person in a different reality. That doesn't mean the other one doesn't exist, but that's its own reality and its own person that your consciousness is no longer looking through the eyes of, so to speak.
Okay. I wonder why it seemed like the old reality was within the new reality.
You can look at it that way if you want, but if that concept confuses you, then it might be better for you to just keep them as separate realities.
Oh, okay.
Everything is within everything because everything is here and now. But again, if that's a confusing concept, you don't have to look at it that way.
Okay. It wasn't really that confusing, but I like having both options.
All right. If that provides the clarity you seek, then so be it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it's just about how you define things that work for you.
Okay.
Because everything is here and now.
So I was also thinking that if I even let go of even more and more resistance, that I would shift to the reality where there were ETs.
And you may be doing that, but there's no insistence on the timing.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't really insisting, but I was just wondering if that's how it mechanically works. Is it just a matter of letting go of resistance?
It's a matter of letting go of resistance or anything that's simply not relevant for the true you. And that means that you've made an agreement. In particular, if you are interacting with us, it's more likely than not that you are part of the agreement of experiencing open contact with extraterrestrials in whatever time frame that's relevant for those who have agreed to experience that as a collective.
Okay. So it's not just about letting go of resistance. There's other things that you let go of.
After you have let go of all resistance, you can continue to let go of things that are simply no longer relevant, even if they're not resistance or negative. There may be more streamlining, but again, if you just follow the formula, your life will unfold automatically, and you will automatically, if you continue to examine your belief systems, let go of the things that are either the result of resistance or simply no longer relevant for you.
Okay. Um, will our definition of the idea of limitations change as we evolve?
Yes, to some degree. This is why when we created the book, The Masters of Limitation, we say you go from being the masters of limitation to being the masters of limitation, which means you can more consciously pick and choose how to create borders for yourself, to focus yourself in particular reality experiences, because limitation is not necessarily a negative thing. You're using limitation right now upon your greater consciousness to even have what you call a physical experience. So limitation can be used in many positive ways.
Yes, I'm realizing that. And I even realized that you use limitations a lot, right?
Absolutely. We limit ourselves, especially in these encounters, to make sure that we are not in any way, shape, or form violating the idea of giving you information that it is not appropriate to give you. So we impose certain limitations upon our consciousness so that whatever it is we, shall we say, are not supposed to tell you, we simply will not have access to. We may have access to it when we go back into our normal selves, our own reality, but for the purpose of these conversations, we will actually block information that it is not appropriate to share with you because it would intervene in your own choices and your agreements.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we use limitation to all of our advantages in that way.
You even find it, you have a different theme than we do, but you also find that it's exciting to work with limitations in a way through seeing us and helping us work with them.
Without certain kinds of limitations, there are no surprises.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Right? If you could peer through the wrappings and the box that contain your presence, you would automatically know and not have the thrill of opening it to find out what's inside. So limitations are used in a variety of ways to create discovery and excitement and surprise.
And we're evolving to find them more in that way instead of seeing them as negative. And
yes, limitation is not inherently negative. It depends on how you use it. It depends on what causes it.
Yeah, I've been seeing them more as invitations to be creative.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because then you can, as you say, learn to think outside the box. If there is no box, you can't learn to think outside of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was wondering if our human body is capable of as much ecstasy as yours is.
Yes, in its own interpretation, in its own reality, in its own way. Yes, there is an equivalent. It may not be exactly the same as what we experience, but there is an equivalent.
It seems like it would be more challenging for us to reach that state of ecstasy, though.
If you say so.
Oh, it's not?
No.
I don't say that. Okay. It's interesting.
Does realizing that you can achieve it allow you to feel more ecstasy?
Yes.
There you go.
All right. I want to ask you about affirmations.
Permission slips, yes.
But, well, yes, they are permission slips, but everything is, right?
Exactly. So what are you going to ask about?
I was wondering if, I mean, you said that lucid dreaming can change our template level reality.
It can, if you use it that way, yes.
And I experienced what I think I was using affirmations to actually change my template level reality.
Affirmations alone will not necessarily do it if there is no lucidity in the process.
But if there is lucidity.
If there is lucidity, you don't need the affirmations.
Well, how do you change it then? If you're in a lucid state?
You simply know what the template is, what the blueprint is, and you know what changes you prefer to make in it that don't violate the theme that you chose to explore.
But don't you?
It's an exercise of your free will in a lucid state on a higher level, recognizing what is the theme you chose to explore and being creative about how you can change the way in which it is explored. That's what can change. If you are done with a theme, then yes, you can change the theme as well. And it's just a matter of seeing the blueprint and making the adjustments, which in lucid states, you would automatically know how to do. The realization of how to do it would come with the lucidity.
Okay, so it wouldn't just be through thought like affirmations are.
No.
Okay.
Affirmations can be a tool to get you into lucidity, but lucidity itself brings the knowledge of how to change the template in the ways that are appropriate.
Could one of the ways be through an affirmation?
As I just said, affirmations can bring you possibly into a state of lucidity, but it's the lucid state itself that brings the awareness and knowledge of how to change the template in an appropriate way. The affirmations themselves don't do it. The affirmations can, if you believe in them, bring you into a state of lucidity. But lucidity is a different state than the affirmations themselves. And once you are lucid, you don't need the affirmations.
Hmm.
All
Okay.
right? All right.
I was in a state and I started to see all of my, a lot of my negative beliefs.
All right.
And
that
they
can
were
also be a way to use a lucid state, to be more aware of yourself. We will eventually cover some of this in the idea that we will call the 3 questions of self-investigation, an upcoming transmission in what you call the future. And that will do for today.
All right. Ha'atu.
Ha'atu and Aveo.
Aveo.
Hi, Bashar. Recently over Hawaii, we had a lenticular cloud formation. This type of cloud formation is very commonly perceived as a UFO by the contact community. Is there a way to utilize a formation like that to amplify our preparation for contact?
Sometimes they generate a lenticular formation based on ionization of the electromagnetic field around the craft. So yes, sometimes they can be within it. Sometimes it is simply a weather phenomenon. And sometimes it is an indication of interdimensional connections. It is not always about a craft being in a lenticular cloud. You can utilize it as a symbol, as long as you do not necessarily confuse yourself as to the idea of whether or not there actually is a craft in the cloud. But you can use it as a symbol, as a reflection of the idea of making connections. Certainly, again, as a permission slip, it can be valuably used that way.